Couldn't
things
have
and
said it
stuff.
better myself.
All right. Here we go. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. What do you say? Are you ready to begin?
What's up, everybody? My name is Greg Gizmo Zord Parker, and you're listening to Lords of the Storm, episode 159? Tech 9? I don't know. The weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true Heroes of the Storm. I'm joined tonight, of course, by the Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Kevin Multizord Ellis and Ryan TBK Zord Reader. And on this week's episode, Fear the Phoenix. As the latest hero enters the live servers, we discuss our thoughts on Varion, or on the Varion and Tracer changes. Should Quick Match go away? And we hop into some of the HGC. But first, let's see how the other Zords are doing. Multi, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty well. I have just recently caught on to the whole thing where, his name is Phoenix, and he died and came back to life like a phoenix.
Did he die, though? I thought he was just really
did die.
badly wounded.
No. Apparently. I mean, I'm no StarCraft expert, as we know from Alarak. But yeah, I mean, even the most recent video, there was a brief one with some like stills and a bit of his story. Apparently he died defending Ire, and then they brought his body into the Dragoon to resurrect it.
So was his name Phoenix before he died?
Probably.
That's what, yeah.
It was
Remember,
meant to be.
guys, StarCraft lore 1.0 out of 10.
No, 0.5.
0.5, yeah.
Yeah,
0.5.
don't give us too much credit there, TBK.
No.
How are you doing tonight, TBK?
I am doing wonderfully. I am ready to go. I am fighting off the last bits of a cold.
Ooh, fun.
Those things just kind of hang on. I like it.
I
And
have...
you know what I do like?
What?
Phoenix.
I
point.
hear he's pretty good. I don't
Pretty
know.
good.
It's just the word on the streets.
Turns out he's kind of fun. I don't know.
F is for
Weird.
fun. Phoenix is for fun. Who do stuff
Turns
together.
out he's
U is for
kind
you
of good at a
and
lot of
me.
stuff.
And is for
Yeah,
anywhere, anytime at all.
What are you singing?
Down here
know what
in
you're
the
doing anymore.
Nexus
I don't know.
maps. You guys don't know that song? The fun song?
Nope.
Nope. I have no memory of fun from my
It's
childhood.
just weird and awkward.
I'm not going to tell you what it is because I'm sure you know what it is, and some people will know what it is. Also, that's a record for this show. 2 episodes in a row where the old Gizmo sings.
That's
Let's not make it 3. It's just
probably
been...
a good call. Yeah.
My life is turning into a musical where things just happen and spark a song in my head, and I just start singing. So
It reminds me of that Family Guy episode where he gets the genie and he's just like, I want theme music for everything.
Yep.
It's just like da 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 riding on a bus, riding on a bus. Yeah, I would wish for that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
episode title for this week: Sing Along with the Zords.
I'll have to do something better.
Yeah.
then.
Just think
I'll
about
figure
how
it out.
epic that would be. You get like this 3, 4, 5 kill streak, and there's this like massive symphony in the background that's just like crescendoing this epic note as you go on this killing spree.
It should be
There
like
can be. Just get a Spotify.
yeah, well, it should like because there's different like levels of being on
wouldn't
fire
save
in this game, and like the music
wouldn't-
builds up as the more you're on fire. You know,
Yeah.
get the
That'd
blood
be a cool
flow.
in-game feature.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go, heroes. Dynamic music system.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Done.
Let's do it. But yes, I have been doing fantastic. Playing lots of heroes past couple days. Imagine that. Imagine that. But what else have you guys been playing? I guess, we can talk some heroes as well. Multi?
Actually, come to me last real quick. Hit
Okay.
TBK up.
Typica.
I finished Wolfenstein. I beat Wolfenstein New Order, and it was really good. Like, thumbs up. I will probably pick up the sequel, Colossus or whatever it is, whenever it comes around on a Steam sale. So I was very happy with it.
Is it like
Is
an
it
8 to
anything
10
like
hour
playing
campaign?
Greymane?
I think it was about 12 or 13 hours for me.
Okay.
On like the mid difficulty. I rarely play things on the hardest difficulties anymore just because I don't have the time.
Yeah.
And
the same
so
way.
and it was a good challenge regardless. So I was pretty happy with it. I've started into the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign. I actually picked it up when it was like $20 on their super sale because I have no interest in the multiplayer at all. But I wanted to play the single player Star Wars campaign because for some reason, they hate money and don't want to make a single-player Star Wars game. I don't understand it. But there you go. So it's apparently not a super long campaign. They said 6 to 8 hours max. So
Like a Call of
I'm going to
Duty
knock that
campaign.
out. Yeah, I'm going to knock that out, and then I'm going to start working on... Because I like to always have a single-player game. It's pretty much just like Heroes, and then whatever single player game I'm playing at the time. So I think I'm going to knock that out and then hit up some Assassin's Creed Black Sail
Okay.
next. Because I just picked that up on a Steam sale for like $10. And
Yeah.
I've heard it's probably was supposed to be one of the best in the series.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Also, one of the last I played. Because, holy crap, there's a lot of those.
Oh, there's so many now.
There are.
That's good. Did you give up on Divinity, or are you just taking a break from it?
I'm taking a little break from it. I need to find a weekend or take a day off and just have a stretch of time to play it.
Mhm.
Because I don't feel like I can get quite as much done in just tiny spurts.
Yeah.
With that game. I need long play sessions, and that's been hard lately. So it's just been an hour or two here and there for heroes and single player stuff and whatnot.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've kind of been doing the same thing over the past year where I pick up a single player game to play through. I think my next one, I'm probably not anytime soon, but it just came out, was Far Cry 5. Looks really good. And I watched some short spurts of people streaming that just to see what it was like, and it looks pretty darn good. But I've been playing a lot of heroes in Overwatch. I think I talked last week that I hopped back into Overwatch. Maybe not. Which is weird because that's probably the Blizzard game I've played the least. I think I overhyped myself way too much on that game when it was coming out. And it just never really clicked with me. It was always fun. But I've entered this weird phase to where I actually just enjoy playing solo. It's a relaxing game for me. And the thing I really appreciate about it that I've discovered is that is the only like competitive style game where I can log in, play ranked play, and not stress about it. Like it does not bother me. Like I didn't play forever. I hopped in, played like 2 quick matches, and I was like, all right, let's knock out our placements. And I have the highest ranking that I've ever had in that game so far this season. And
Nice.
I've just become a support main, playing some Moira and Lucio, pretty much. So I need to check out Bridget now that she's available for ranked. So we'll see.
Brigitte.
Oh, gosh.
Brigitte.
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 I think you have to roll the R too. Brigitte.
I can't do that.
Brigitte.
I can't do that. That's why I stopped taking Spanish classes. Can't roll my R's.
I don't think it's Spanish, but okay.
No, I'm just saying that's, I can't roll my R's. Good gosh.
I can't either. It's embarrassing.
I can't roll my R's because I can't speak in Spanish.
I would, yeah, it's a good thing I'm not,
Seems
Latin
legit,
American, because I would be awful. No one would understand
Actually,
what I'm saying.
if you struggle with it as a kid, apparently you take classes. So I guess it can be
I always
forced
wondered
into
that.
you. Yeah,
Can
always
be
wondered.
fixed.
can
like
be fixed. I can't though.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's go ahead. Oh, no, you wanted to go last.
Yeah.
I skipped over it. What have you been up to in gaming, Multi?
Not too much. I mean, I've been playing some Heroes, got in, tried some Phoenix, played a couple games actually with you guys today, which was cool. We can talk about some of those in a bit here, but I wanted to at least really briefly talk about something that Tank Zord, Steven, former co-host of the Cavalry, He's been playing a bunch lately, and it's been kind of awesome to see. He's been really hopping in there because, like, we played League of Legends together for about 3 years straight, pretty much, and almost nothing else in that time frame. And so it's good to see him kind of get into the MOBA scene again. But, okay, so he actually finally did his placement matches this past week for the first time ever. I mean, he's had this account for a while and hopped on and played some quick matches and done that kind of thing, but he's never even tried to place previously in either HL or TL. So anyway, little backstory. So we played League of Legends quite a bit together, like I mentioned, and he's pretty good at MOBAs just in general. In fact, like, we probably played about the same amount of League. And a lot of those years I was living with him, so we just sit side by side and play. And typically his mechanics and like map awareness and all that was always a step ahead of me. So, I mean, he comes over to Heroes, and I probably have a little leg up on him just because, I've been playing it so much and own all the heroes and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, I would think that if he, put in the same amount of effort and time this entire time, he'd probably be way better mechanically and, with the game sense as well. So my point is to illustrate with all this. So he gets in there and does his placements, and he's sending me texts as he does it, right? So at one point he was 8-1. It was super pumped. He was like, dude, these are going really well. That one that I lost was just because 2 people were AFK and all this stuff. So I was like, yeah, man, that's awesome. I really wonder where you're going to end up placing. So he finishes 9-1 and places Silver 2, which was like just a huge, I don't know. He didn't take it well. If you guys listen to the Cavalry at all, you know Steven can be a bit of a hothead. But in this case, I mean, I kind of feel for him. Like, this is a guy who understands MOBAs, plays this game well. I mean, I've never had any issues in the games I play with him, for sure.
And this was an account that hadn't been ranked before.
Freshly, it's an old account, but freshly ranked, which is kind of why this is an interesting case.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So he said that by the end of his placements, because I asked him, I was like, all right, well, in your last few games, what were the types of accounts you were getting matched up with? He said high gold, low plat, and then he places Silver 2. And so very strange.
Yeah, I've seen or been seeing on Twitter cases of still some weird placements happening. For the most part, it seems like this season is going fairly smooth. I'd be interested to know, because I know he's come back and forth a lot. Like, he's had some short spurts. So I'm actually interested to know what his total games played are and what his overall win percentage is.
Could be.
Just to see
that'd
what
be
his,
interesting to know.
Yeah, because I don't think he plays unranked draft very much. I think it's mostly quick match, so
it would be
going based off
match.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is interesting. But it's cool that you mentioned that he's been getting back into it. A lot of the Zords seem to have been coming back to it. Like, we've seen Grindel, Swift, Bone Zord. Like you said, we were playing with them today. And I guess, short story, we were playing a game, and I got killed by a Phoenix. I was like, oh, that jerk. And then I recognize the name as Tarask. It's like, I know that guy. It's Kyle. I bet he's streaming. Let me turn on his stream snipe him. I wasn't sniping him, but it was him. And he kicked my butt. And then we played a match with him, and we lost. I played a really bad Phoenix.
Was that the match I was in?
Yeah.
Follow-up?
Well, and it was hard too, because like we all joined in a voice chat, and I think he thought we could hear him, but we couldn't. So I still had his stream open, trying to hear what he was hearing, but at like a 30-second delay, and coordinate that with our team. So I was kind of distracted. But I also, my first couple Phoenix games just went ham, so that got me in a really bad habit, and I'm like super aggressive with him right now. I need to peel it back.
I think everyone is, though.
Yeah.
He just steps up to the front line. Who cares? 1v5 people.
But yeah, I'm interested to see if you can get an update on Tank about what some of those stats are. We can
maybe
delve into
Be
this.
interesting. Yeah.
Even so, there's still the discussion about, like, where should the weight be? Like, if he had that good of placements, shouldn't that have had a bigger impact? I don't know. There's a discussion to be had there.
Yeah. All right, real quick, we do have some Patreon updates. We do have a new patron, Ethan H. So thank you, sir, for your support of the show. You have earned a Zord title. So if you'd like to get that to us, we will get that announced next week, as well as Weston H, I believe, from last week. If you still want to shoot us your Zord title, we'll make sure to get both those out there so you can be official Zords, official business. Now, let's go ahead, hop on into the news. First up, just a reminder, PAX East is coming up. Heroes of the Storm will be there for their panel on Thursday, April 5th.
Big stuff, apparently.
Big stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I know
Big stuff, apparently.
I said I was going to check and try and figure out what times these were last week. It says 12:30 to 1:30 still. Doesn't have a time zone. I went to the PAX site, and they don't have time zones either. So I'm really like, I don't know if
but
the
it's
PAX
Eastern
site,
time, right? I'm pretty sure it's
I would
on the
think
East
so.
Coast.
Hence PAX East.
Yes, I would
I
think
don't know how
so.
Yes.
I would think so, but normally, people put a time zone, and most of the Blizzard stuff is always Pacific, and then
True.
for the PAX site to not have it, and some websites
Probably
automatically adjust
Eastern.
to your time zone, so I'm just caught in this loop of not knowing what's going on. So we're just gonna assume it's Eastern until someone, and we're probably right. But big things, yes. The more important thing, besides the time zone, big things happening. We're gonna get what seems to be another hero announcement. The I forgot the wording they used. The most unusual hero to enter the
it
Nexus,
wasn't
I think.
Unusual. What was it exactly? It wasn't unexpected either.
Regardless, it was our big
Yeah.
Kane discussion that we're hoping for, possibly, as well as getting our first taste potentially of the Nexus lore, which will be really interesting. So make sure and keep an eye out for that. To listen up, should be a good time.
So let's make some guesses, because I feel like this is going to be bigger than just a new hero.
Think we're gonna get a new map with the lore?
Well, so I think for one, we've got our new unusual hero. We've speculated about that. We think could be Kane, could be a Nexus specific hero. Either would be pretty cool, I'm sure. I'm hoping for a specialist or a multi-class, because we haven't had a specialist or a multi-class for a really long time. But I'm going to predict the return of Hanamura,
Okay.
because that has been waiting in the wings for quite a while, and it seems like a big event like this, especially when last they said that the gameplay is pretty much entirely different than how it used to be. And so just for that fact, I feel like they're going to treat it, or at least give it the gusto of a new map
Okay.
completely.
That'd be cool.
Quick
I
prediction.
feel like that
on,
makes sense.
on Hanamura. Do you think it's the map layout stays the same as far as the 2-lane with the jungle in the mid, or do you think this moves to a 3-lane map?
See, that would be a huge change. I think the layout will change, though, especially since they said that it's just one payload now.
Yeah, it's going to
And
be
that
pushing
the
in a lane, it
cores-
seems like.
And the cores are directly attackable as well, if I remember correctly. So
Yes.
I feel like the whole middle layout has probably changed, unless, I mean, they could have made it a 3-lane map, like Spider Queen sized, but I feel like they'll keep it at 2, because there's not a whole lot of 2-lane maps.
Mhm.
So I don't know. That's kind of my gut there. And then potentially we'll see another big, like, event skin themed thing. I'm still waiting for my Warcraft map, but I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that if we get one, it'll probably be a BlizzCon thing.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Could be.
That's what I feel like this year. Like, it's just, especially with Hanamura coming back and them just having that one kind of more, I guess, ready. It's probably, it just makes sense to me that everybody's been wanting a Warcraft map. So that's an easy part of a big announcement for a BlizzCon type thing.
You'd think, although maybe it'll come out just right before BlizzCon, like Volskaya
Good.
did.
Good.
Hey,
I just want one, dang it.
I think it's next on the block. I mean, I'd prefer Hearthstone, but it's a Warcraft universe thing. It's got to be next, though, I think.
Okay.
But, I mean, it doesn't match up with Kane. If we're expecting Kane in this, I don't know. Yeah, okay. So first of all, I pulled up the site, the PAX East site, and they were saying that. So the way it reads is: join the Heroes of the Storm development team to discuss the magic behind creating characters that leave a lasting impression, and get a front row seat for the introduction of one of the most unlikely heroes from Blizzard's history. To join the Nexus yet, be the first to learn how the lore of the Heroes of the Storm will add to the larger Blizzard universe. So, as far as that last point goes. If they're going to delve into the lore, and I know they said it at BlizzCon where they were discussing, that we actually want there to be a story about the Nexus and have it flesh out over time. Maybe we're going to get we kind of hinted at this previously, but a short, either done in the style of the last few that we've seen or the full-on cinematic team. Either way would be cool. I would like to see, at least from the lore perspective, a couple more things. Like I think they could go down the comic route. They could go really a few different directions. Saturday morning cartoon, 12 episodes on Netflix, like right away. I'm just throwing out ideas here.
Please.
Yes, exactly. So that's honestly like Kane would be super hype. Any other?
But is he unlikely?
Would be super hype. I see the reason why I think he is unlikely and not unexpected or any of those others we were talking about as word choices is just simply because like we'd said I think a couple episodes ago, he's a frail old man.
Yeah,
so you wouldn't think a frail old man would be able to stand toe to toe against the literal devil, but
he couldn't. He died to a lesser demon.
Yes, who then
I
turned
really
into... Mm-hmm.
So
I really hope that they just surprise the crap out of us and it's something completely out of left field like Probius was.
I was
actually going to say
being something like Brightwing, because that's an unlikely hero. But as much as I would also love something that's, Nexus lore specific, the way that was worded, I think you said it most unlikely hero from Blizzard's history. That clearly is not Nexus lore because it's not part of Blizzard's history yet.
Yeah.
But my whole thing, I already kind of went on about this in our Discord, is it's going to be Deckard Cain, and here's the Nexus lore. Deckard Cain got his butt whooped. He died. In his spirit world, he created the Nexus to train some new Nephilim, pulled champions from other worlds to come in, battle it out, so he can kick butt and get revenge. Which the only thing that makes that not make any sense is he pulled Diablo in. He wouldn't want to do that, but I don't know. Maybe there's another person that's like, maybe, I don't know.
How's this for an
Adria
idea?
Is battling him on the other side. Who knows?
Could be.
You just broke down
There's
your
holes
own
in my
theory.
lore. There's holes in my lore. Don't worry about it. We can go back and
I'll build on
retcon
it,
him.
though.
We'll retcon him.
So Cain died in the series, right? Spoiler alert, everybody. And then in the Nexus, they're gonna just bring him back as a dragoon.
Yeah, just throw him in a...
Dragoon.
It's Dragoon. It's got the little bubble, but it's just Kane's head floating in the little bubble.
It's
like
just...
the Warcraft trinket with or the little toy with what's his face's Khadgar's head.
Yeah.
It just floats around like a bubble, but instead it's Kane's head in a bubble with legs.
We had this last week. And shout out, I should have written the name down of the gentleman who made our sweet High Dragoon skin within like 2 hours of us mentioning it on the show. This amazing really artwork was done.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Warner, awesome dude. He draws.
I'll get the name. Yeah, I had it here.
I just said the name.
You did?
Say it again.
Warner.
Noah Warner. Yes.
The Sasquatch. Misspelled.
So
T-E-H.
here's a thought. Maybe we just get a Kane Phoenix skin where he's like an old man sitting in a wheelchair that's mechanically built like Wild Wild West style. That moves around and he has a staff that shoots laser beams. Yeah, I don't know.
The theme.
So
I don't know.
It's I don't know what the name of that skin would be, but who knows?
It's high noon.
But
by the way, the Sasquatch, you don't have to draw that if you don't want to. I mean, you can.
We broke TBK. We broke him. Wild Wild Deckard.
Oh my gosh.
And then his theme song. So we got Wild Wild Deckard. The theme song for that can be Will Smith, Wild Wild West.
Oh, and he rears up on the wheelchair like it's a horse rearing.
Yeah.
We got this whole thing.
Come to Lord of the Storm, where you get new Western style skins for heroes
every week.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's something that would be added to Heroes of the Storm first or Happy Wheels. Kind of sounds like a Happy Wheels thing. Did you guys play that? Nope. Okay, never mind. Moving on. Moving on. There's a new Brawl coming this week. It is our second PvE content, which I know a lot of us have been excited for, which will be out Friday, March 30th. And this is the normal version, which makes us believe the week after will be the heroic version. It's called Dead Man's Stand. And it reads, if we only had time. With a little breathing room, Mirahan could get the core up and running and give us enough juice to activate the Psi Disruptor, wiping out the Omega Swarm and saving us all from certain death. That's where you come in, heroes. We need you to get out there and buy us time in any way you can. They're a swarm of angry Zerg. They're headed right this way, and you're all we've got. Good luck. So it is going to have select warriors, support specialists, and assassins that you can pick from, just like the last PvE content. It's going to be the same rules where if a hero dies, after a short time, you can go and resurrect them. If everyone dies, you fail. And it sounds like it's going to be pretty much like a onslaught wave clearing type thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're guarding a point for a certain amount of time, just fending off waves.
Like a horde mode.
Yeah, horde mode. That's it.
Which is great.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the PvE stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I loved the first co-op one, and the heroic one was just so much better, even because it was hard.
So what do you think the heroic one's going to be? Because my prediction is this one's going to have the time limit. Heroic mode is going to be endless, to where it just gets harder and harder and harder.
Just keep pushing.
Yeah,
that's interesting. They definitely could do more with like boss mechanics and all that. I know the video for this kind of showed. I don't remember exactly what the boss looked like, but there was some line of sight issues where you could stand behind these pillars and block an ability and all that kind of stuff. So they definitely in a heroic mode could ramp that kind of thing up.
I'm just thinking because the last one had the leaderboards, so it was like, people were actually pushing for it. If this is just harder mechanics, how do you measure that for a leaderboard? And maybe there's not a leaderboard this time, which is fine.
I think there will be, though.
So here's building off of that, because the old one was like who could do it in the fastest time, right? If this is truly endless, my guess is there's going to be a point where you win.
Yeah.
And then waves continue until you're overwhelmed. That could easily turn into a how many waves could you survive type thing and be the leaderboard for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like you still have the boss and then
it just gets to a point where you're screwed and there's nothing you can do probably.
Yeah.
But
there has to be a point where like you physically cannot win because they're either just hitting too hard or something. But I mean, the team that can handle that kind of incoming damage for the longest would place higher. So yeah, I like that. Because if they don't, if you can just kind of churn through wave after wave after wave, the record's going to be like 19 hours or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we don't
want
that.
Long.
But so no, I'm super pumped for this too. I guess my only gripe on it though is that it's another StarCraft themed one. Although I mean, this is the StarCraft 20th anniversary, so
it's true.
Can't complain there. And they're annihilating the StarCraft 20th anniversary Tavern Brawl in Hearthstone rather. So that's good to see. But yeah, so I mean, I'm excited, but maybe down the road, future PvE could be done on, for instance, the Diablo skin maps, a couple others. If they were to release a Warcraft skin map, they could do a lot with that. I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, I think they could do a really cool Diablo one where it's actual like greater rifts. Like you choose the difficulty and see how see how high it keeps track of the level of greater rift you cleared for the week. It could be
that's actually a super fun idea.
Even better, PAX announcement. PvE mode coming to Heroes of the Storm. You heard it here first.
To build the lore. Single player.
Right.
There's your next single player campaign.
I see. Then I could marry my two loves of Heroes of the Storm and single player games.
Yeah.
Watch you actually be right on that one. That'd be wild. I don't
That'd
know.
be
That'd
amazing.
It's
But
not impossible.
if you think about it, that in and of itself, if it was done well and was updated with some level of frequency, could draw in an entirely new player base to the game that didn't even exist before. And as I assume, they've got some really good data on the original PvE Brawl, and my guess is it did way better than anybody was expecting it to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, that'd be kind of crazy if that's what one of the things they were working on, but I think I for one would welcome that, because not only would it grab a whole new section of player base that you could get in and do stuff, but potentially might even add to the multiplayer pool.
Yep. You heard it here first. Diablo 4 confirmed HOTS expansion.
Half-Life
There
3.
you go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's cool, and I'm excited to check it out Friday. So, make sure and get your games in. For the chest, it's not play 3. It's just beat it once, and you'll get your chest. So I imagine the normal won't be too difficult, just like the last PvE thing was. We do have the patch from Tuesday. So Phoenix is live along with the StarCraft anniversary things and hero changes. So if you have logged in, or if you haven't logged in, you should sometime between now and April 23rd to get your 3 portraits, your Protoss, Terran, and Zerg are there. And then I also immediately went and bought gems so I could buy the Phoenix bundle to also get the Celestial Bear. Because you want to do that too.
That's right.
And it's cool.
Good call.
You only need to spend $5. You can still get the bear even with the lowest level of gems.
Yes,
Yep,
that is
which
true.
is what I ended up doing.
I spent actually the other thing I bought. So I bought the Phoenix bundle. Phoenix can ride coin type mounts, which is cool because there's a really sweet Phoenix skin that's like blue and red that I bought that matches my blue and red spider surfboard really well, and he looks really cool doing it. So
you can ride like Hearthstone cards and
yes.
floaty stuff. That's
Yep.
cool.
But what are your all's first opinions here? I think first it's worth mentioning Phoenix did get nerfed from the PTR before coming over to the live servers. His attack damage...
Which is not super common.
Yeah, his attack damage went down, his plasma cutter damage went down, and his level 1 advanced targeting, which is his quest, both the stacks per and total went down as well. And that has seemed to this point to prove, or been proven, that doesn't matter. He's still really strong.
I was gonna say that all came down, just not enough.
Yeah.
Probably because
It's good they were conservative though.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'd rather them be. It kind of shows that, hey, we noticed he's pretty strong on PTR, because we normally don't see nerfs. We've seen it a few times, but we normally don't see nerfs from PTR unless there's a problem. And so this is probably them saying, hey, we realize it's the problem, but we don't want to go too heavy-handed until we get more data.
Well, the problem with him really, and this is something you and I, TBK, were talking about offline before the show. I mean, yes, he does a ton of damage, and I think that they could tune that a little bit better. But even after they do that, the kit itself is just so strong in that it you have so much wave clear as far as options go between the Q and the phase bomb feature in the W. And then warp, I mean, yes, it can be interrupted, but it is a great escape for gap closer.
It really is.
So you'd have to rewrite his kit to fully nerf him, I would think. I would think the only way we wouldn't see play out of this guy is if he just does no damage.
So we were talking about the Sun Convert trade last night. A nerf that I am guessing that we may see come up is a nerf to his shield. His shield, it will be less, but then bumping his health up more. Because I feel one of the really punishing things on him right now is it's hard to punish him. Even if you're lane soloing against him, his shield is quite a bit, and it comes back up. So if he takes damage, all he has to do is get out of there. He doesn't have mana. You have no way of pushing him out of lane at all, unless there's a rotation and a gank on him. But then that is hard. because he has the escape. So I'm thinking we may see a shield nerf and then health boost. I think could help a little bit, but there are some definite damage tweaks that need to be done. Surprising to me, I thought his kind of auto attack stutter stepping build was going to be the build to go. Turns out that's not quite the one right now. It's his Q build. The quest at 1, the damage does more damage against slowed targets, and then his not World Cracker, his other one,
Planet Cracker.
What's the other one? The missiles.
Purification Salvo.
Yes. Wait. Yeah. Is amazing stacking with that because your Q slows, it goes around more times, that does more damage. Then you push out your Purification Salvo, that does bonus damage to slowed targets. Everything just stacks so well. I was playing with Tatva from Line of Sight Gaming earlier. He was running Thrall. Thrall Earthquake into that thing is game over. Like that, it's an insane combo. But I've been having a blast with him, and I think it was Tatva was mentioning another cool build that I haven't tried yet, where it's like his warp resetting on deaths, and then something to where each third attack does extra damage, and then also after 3 basic attacks, his bomb does extra damage, and it's real quick, like teleport, pew pew pew, bomb. Somebody's dead, teleport, pew pew pew, bomb. Kind of a resetting Li Ming type thing, which I haven't tried yet. But what builds have you all been having? What are some potential nerfs you think we may see incoming? TPK?
I think we'll see just some lower damage across the board. He does do quite a bit of damage. He's one of those really interesting heroes where you always, there's all these little pieces to heroes like CC, mobility, damage, wave clear, all that stuff. And if you look at Phoenix, he checks every single box. He has slows. He has engage / escape with his warp. He has decent single target damage. He has decent AoE damage. He has survivability with his shield, and we'll talk about it later in my community content shout out. But there's a new Math of the Storm article, and his shield can regen fairly quickly. I mean, wait a few seconds, and then I think it takes like 15 seconds to fully regen, and that's the equivalent of like 2/3 of his health.
Yeah.
Regenning in 15 seconds. Now, granted, there's shields, so there's some wonky interaction with shield breaker type talents like Varion Shattering Throw actually do create the bonus damage against that. And so there are certain ways you could break through that much easier, but there's not a ton of heroes with that sort of functionality either.
Especially with the armor interacting with shields now.
Yeah. Right. And so he's just a very he's the complete package, I guess, as far as kit stuff goes. And so I think you have to work around the damage and work around the survivability.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're increasing cooldowns and such. And we talked about this last week with Tracer's now 30-second recall.
Yeah, I'll get into
really
that.
long basic ability cooldowns just do not feel super good from a play standpoint.
I'll definitely get into that. But it's interesting that you mentioned he checks all the boxes, because it seems like most of my games, unless something like really weird happens in game to where I have to switch and focus mercs like super heavy, or switch and like we're on our back foot just team fighting or pressuring all the time, that my hero damage and siege damage has been within like 10,000 of each other, whether I'm trying to do one or the other hard or not, which is really weird.
And both those numbers are huge.
Yeah,
in both siege and hero.
My first game of going that Q build, I was over 100k in both, which was nuts. And then I got aggressive, and now it's been much lower. So I shouldn't do that.
I do think though he has a number of viable talents on most of his talent tiers, especially depending on the group that you're going up against. And as far as the ults go, I completely agree. I think Purification Salvo will probably move to the default ultimate heroic pickup, and Planet Cracker will move to the comp specific, because it isn't a super wide beam. It's really not. It does a ton of damage. And in fact, they were talking about it in our Discord earlier, that if you on Braxis, because it hits everything but structures. So if on Braxis you get in front of the Zerg wave as they're coming out before they spread out, and Purification Beam, you can basically wipe out a full Zerg wave,
which is awesome,
with a Planet Cracker, just as they come out of the gate, which that's really cool. You're using 100-second cooldown to do it. Worth it? Probably. If you're in that situation. But I think Planet Cracker is going to be absolutely amazing for things like Entomb, like Mosh Pit, and anything, Malfurion, maybe even anything that can give you that lockdown to keep people where you need them to be, because it is fairly easy to walk out of. So you really do need the CC behind that backing it up.
Yeah, and you also pay for it a little bit in that you just stop moving and you're not doing any of your other abilities, and you know what I mean? So, I mean, Purification Salvo just gives you that mobility back, and then you can just follow up with regular abilities. I mean, I think that Phoenix does enough damage on his own that, like, you don't necessarily need to sit back and do the Planet Cracker in a lot of situations. Like, if you're just taking him for a quick match or something and don't have that kind of synergy you were talking about. But Planet Cracker is definitely cooler. The beam looks super awesome, and the sound.
The sound
so
is
good.
great.
So good.
Yeah, it's incredible. I've actually found, like, I feel like not only is it going to be comp dependent, but map dependent. I didn't seem to be having nearly as much luck or, as good of numbers on large maps with the Q build, just because, maybe I have to go split and solo.
It's harder
lane.
to stack.
Yeah, it's harder to stack. Yeah. So the auto attack damage seemed to be good on those, and I think C might go for World Cracker, just depending on Planet Cracker, World Cracker.
Yeah, Planet Cracker.
Planet Cracker.
Just think of a giant
Planet
cracker.
Hollywood. Planet Hollywood. Planet Cracker.
A giant planet made out of a cracker.
A Ritz cracker.
Sounds delicious.
Ritz crackers are good.
With some of that like squeezed cheese.
Nah. I ain't about that life. Give me that peanut butter.
Might as well just go Nutella then.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good point.
We've gone too far.
With Clinton, you never go too far with Nutella, but the Planet Cracker might be good on the bigger maps. But I'm really interested to see. Multi, do you have any other overall thoughts on how you feel about him? Is he your cup of tea?
Oh, he's definitely my cup of tea. I've honestly been looking for a new ranged assassin, and this dude's it. I love auto attackers, specifically ranged ones, I think, more than anything, which is why, even though she's kind of fallen out of the meta a little bit, I'm still a huge fan of playing Vala. And this guy fits that kind of Vala feel, but in a totally different and interesting way. I honestly, I have more fun with the repeater cannon, the rapid auto attacks, than I do the other one, because honestly, at least in his current tuning, if someone gets in there, so we had the one game where there was an Illidan that just dove crazy deep, and yeah, okay, he would block a few shots with some of his defensive cooldowns, but after that, man, they don't see the damage coming from those auto attacks because they're just these tiny little laser shots, and they wreck, especially if you take some of those talents that lead up to it, like that one you were talking about with the 6% health every third shot. Just nuts. And to build on that a little bit, so TBK and I had a game where I was on Morales and he was on Phoenix, and yeah, it worked out. Stim drone into a 2-man versus 4 people, and we got the quad kill. I think it was fine. Don't you? Didn't that
Totally
feel okay,
fine.
TBK? Yeah.
Feels good, man.
Don't need to nerf it.
No nerf needed.
Nope.
No nerf needed.
Yeah, the only time I was really finding I was using the bomb, at least with the Q build, was for wave clear. If it was like a full wave, if it's just a couple, then I switched to the repeater cannon. Or, when people they just get out of range of your auto attack. It does do the increased range and can finish some people off sometimes.
I found I could use the range as an initiation too. So like I'd approach certain group fights where like I'd start off with the cannon on the phase bomb on the extra range. Just splash a few of those in, and then as the fight just breaks out, they're starting to try to get around the tank or whatever, I could step up and turn on repeater cannon, get a few more shots in that way. So I think there's some nuance to knowing when to switch, and that'll be one of the skill tests for sure.
Cool. Well, we will for sure have more next week. I'm just gonna guess that there also may be a balance patch before next week's show on Wednesday, so we'll take a look at that to kind of see where he stands. Right. Tracer and Varion also got some changes here. I've been playing a lot of Tracer lately, and I wish I was playing more of her before these changes. But from what I can remember, because I did used to play a lot of Tracer, and these changes now, she's still fun to play. I think she's still in a fairly decent spot, but you can definitely tell. I think you can tell the impact of the pulse bomb damage reduction for sure, and the cooldown increases. So yes, the auto attack damage is there. That's nice, but I think her build's going to change quite a bit too, because blink, going from 6 seconds to 8 seconds is quite a bit. You can definitely feel that. There have been several times where it's like, I'm sitting back ready to go in, but it's like, okay, recall has 2-3 more seconds on it, and you have to sit back there, can't do anything, or your blink charges aren't coming up fast enough. So you can definitely feel that. But overall, I think she still seems to be in a fairly good spot. So if there's anyone out there who played a lot of Tracer before and is still playing her, if you have any different opinions, for sure let me know. Did either of you get a chance to play Tracer? Have any thoughts on her?
Not yet, but I don't really play her much anyway, so she's in kind of that boat for me. I'm intrigued to try it out anyway, just because I've been meaning to get around to her some more, but it's just, she kind of fits the same role as Phoenix, and I like Phoenix, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you, TBK?
No, Tracer's just never really been my play style. That's just never really been the type of hero I'm good at.
It's definitely much slower. One of the reasons I really liked her, I'm awful with her in Overwatch, but I've seemed to always been pretty good with her. Like, I didn't play her like a ton, but I have over 30 games with her, and I was at a 75% win rate. So the fact that, and that's dropping now, but her play style was so fast, and I loved it, and it's still fast, but definitely you can tell it's slower. Now,
well, that's good actually for me. I mean, I would prefer to slow down a little bit, and maybe I'll be able to just pilot her better.
Yeah. So Varion, TBK, I know you've played a lot of them. I'm going to throw out what I have seen in my reactions and see if you agree with this.
Hit me.
I have not actually seen a Twin Blade yet in the games I've seen him in. Taunt seems to be very strong early game. Has been great at level 4, getting that taunt, especially as Phoenix. If you get taunted, it's game over. Stay away from Varion. However, he doesn't seem like an unkillable hero anymore when he goes taunt. He seems like, if he is there, get on him, he will die. Instead of, he is there, get on him, we're going to try and kill him, but he's probably going to get away. So that's what I pulled from, playing against the tank variant that I've come across. The Colossal Smash variant that I've seen has been successful very few times. Against certain comp squishies, sure, he's still getting them, and maybe it's just some of the variants I was playing with jumping on tanks nonstop. Didn't seem to have a lot of success and seemed worse than previous Colossal Smash variant. Is that what you're thinking at all? Maybe.
So let's hit them up one at a time. So tank variant having a taunt at level 4 is insane. It's absolutely incredible. And what you should be doing with Varian now is you should be roam ganking as soon as you hit 4. Like because you can nearly always guarantee kills on squishy targets with Varian, and you can use that to snowball yourself into a lead for sure. He is not quite as strong post 10. A lot of that has to do with the health nerf and with the shield wall nerf. I would actually advocate more so with how it is now, going Warbringer instead of shield wall with tank Varian at 10, just because it gives you so much more stickiness and CC. Because remember, you're only getting 1 shield wall every 5 seconds. And while parry charges will take longer, you can do 2 in a row with parry charges. So you have to kind of weigh a little more what the team is that you're up against. But Warbringer now can being able to go to allies is a huge deal for a tank. Because it just opens up so much more mobility for you depending on the situation, and that drops Warbringer's cooldown really low. So I would definitely hit that up. Honestly, if you're going taunt, just know that from like 10 to 16ish, you're gonna be a little weaker than you were before from a tank perspective, and a lot of that has to do with your health. Once you get 16 and you get that armor banner, a lot of that goes away. And it helps quite a bit.
I still feel like he's pretty tanky, though. I've only played against him once and with him a few times. And there was one game in particular, actually, it is that one with Kyle that we had earlier, Gizmo. He was, maybe that one was just good in general at stepping up and blocking damage. But I was on Li Ming. I felt like I was just poking at him the whole time, not really getting anywhere.
I mean,
he does have significantly less health.
Yeah,
that's true. But I mean, I'm just saying,
change at all.
You can tank successfully. It's just you got to factor that in.
Yeah, in post 16 with the banner, he did feel almost unkillable again. But for me, it feels like it's much easier to kill him. And I do like your thought of going the Warbringer, because that allows you to go in, get a taunt off, use one of your parries, and then by that time, Warbringer's probably off cooldown again, and then you can get the heck out of there. Instead of normally trying to walk out of there and not taking any damage, now you are taking damage and you will die. So I like that change.
I think it was Ishbu on Twitter had mentioned something about the interactions of Warbringer with somebody like Tracer or Phoenix who had a teleport. Getting that off, and would the Warbringer then follow that around like it does with some weird interactions while it's chasing people too? So that's kind of an interesting thought as well. So that's taunt. I believe taunt is probably the strongest of the 3 right now. Smash, I've seen do some very good things. You have to target squishies, but the blow up potential of a Colossus Smash against squishies, especially from level 4, is absolutely bananas right now. Like it's so crazy. Like if you're targeting a tank, you're doing it wrong. Like he can literally almost one-shot people depending on who you're going up against. And if you've got somebody else that's got range or going in with you, you can pick targets very easily.
Yeah, makes sense. Because when you have 4 abilities at level 4 and almost everyone else still only has 3, that's a huge leg up.
Sure. And it's not on a super long cooldown.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't seem worth it to me because you can blow up a squishy, but you're kind of still doing the same thing as you would as Taunt Varian in going around and getting those ganks on squishies. Yeah, he can do it solo. But like you said, the taunt is going to, pretty much guarantee the ganks. And I don't know. I feel like it's easier to use the taunt, and it's going to be better against most comps.
Yeah, maybe. And from a professional standpoint, it's always been taunt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Regardless. From a normal player standpoint, though, I believe Smash could be very viable. in certain situations, especially if you've got one or two really good pick targets, where you can go in there and get it. And then shield wall is very strong with him because then you can negate a lot of the initial damage tanked from going in. If anything, I would say Twin Blades is probably the weakest of the three right now.
Don't say it. You don't
I'm
believe
sorry.
it in your heart.
I'm sorry.
You know it's the strongest.
I did. It's the strongest in my heart,
That's
but
right.
unfortunately not in practicality. The auto attack damage nerf hit it hard. It hit it really hard. And you really need to get High Kings done to get back most of what you had before to make him feel really good, because a lot of what made Twin Blades work really well is the survivability. And without shield wall at 4, his survivability definitely goes down some. He can merc really well. And he's got this
feel. Like, do you think his boss solo ability is super through the floor now, or is it still?
No, he can solo boss at 7.
Okay.
I mean, as long as you don't get hit, but you shouldn't be getting hit by the slam if you're soloing boss. Anyways, he feels less effective. And I think what I need to do is I need to try him more with Warbringer instead of Shield Wall, and just see how it goes. So Twin Blades, High Kings to get that attack damage back, because you definitely need it. Because remember, when you take Twin Blades, your attack speed goes up, but it cuts your attack damage again.
Yeah.
By I think like 20% or something like that. And so then you go your heal at 7, then you go then maybe Warbringer. I don't know. I think with characters like Phoenix, somebody like a Twin Blade Varion could be very strong against him with a Warbringer, because one, you could take your Shattering Throw at 13, bye shields in a large way, and then Warbringer to keep up with the warp, and that's a pretty dead Phoenix in most ways, shapes, or forms. So I need to play with them a little bit more, but I think overall I really like the design aspect behind what they did. You have some initial quest or build up type talents at level 1, and then you get your identity. And this is just multi-classes in general. You get your identity at level 4. And I think that feels a lot better from a player perspective than having to wait till 10 to have a full character.
It's it's interesting because, one, we haven't seen a multi-class in a while. This is a big enough change. They've probably been working on this for a while, which may be why things were halted. And, this potentially could be what we see going forward with multi-classes is the earlier identity.
Exactly.
So that's what put the kind of the pause on it.
And to that end, so
Deckard
maybe
Cain
they're making,
multi-class.
I was just about to say, maybe they're making this change now as like a prelude for other upcoming changes. Like maybe there's been another multi-class in the pipeline, maybe even not Cain, but a little bit further down the road. Anduin, perhaps, father and son. I don't know. Shadow Priest, Disc Priest, Holy Priest, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, my point is, perhaps they knew that they were going to do that with, let's say, Anduin, and thought to themselves, well, why don't we do this on Varian too? It kind of makes sense to get your stuff beforehand, because honestly this change was a little bit out of the blue. It's nice, I agree with you guys, but
it definitely was.
I think it definitely not only speaks to the design direction of future multi-class, but I think it may even speak to one that's already in the pipeline.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if there was not another multi-class in the pipeline.
Yeah, same
honestly.
Here, especially after this.
Yeah, and we've seen their design philosophy evolve, and we've seen this in other heroes and other reworks, so it just makes a lot of sense that as their design philosophy updates, they have a year of data on Varian. It feels like so long since we've had a multi-class, because it is.
Yes.
It is so long since we've had a multi-class. Please, Blizzard.
Fair enough. But yes, so again, it'll be interesting to see how all this stuff unfolds and kind of where they find their self in the meta here. Which, by the way, don't want to have a discussion on this. Where the heck did Probius come from? Like, it's
He came from somewhere.
Still, not much play percentage-wise, but holy crap. I've gone up against a few the past couple weeks that have just rocked my world. Crazy. Little Probius. Who would have thought? There's a couple interesting topics that have come up on Reddit that have started some discussions. First one from Dirty South Boys. Nice name. I think we need to
This is actually Kala.
Oh, it's
So this is yes.
Yeah.
There's a whole discussion on Twitter with a bunch of people chastising him for not having a Reddit account with his actual name. But this is actually Tempo Storm's coach.
Right.
okay.
It does have the Tempo Storm.
To
moniker there.
lead a little credence to it. Or lend a little credence to it.
He says, I think we need to remove quick match. And it's a long thing. Yeah, gasp. It's a long thing, but TLDR here. He thinks there's a huge gap between players who play the most casual game mode and then players wanting to move into ranked play, such as Hero League or Team League. And that it is pretty much, it's hurting Hero League and Team League because they just don't have the knowledge because they're used to quick match. They're used to playing what heroes they want, not playing incorrect comps, and not really being punished for playing an incorrect hero, but just being able to say, we got a bad comp, or, I played Abathur on Braxis, that's why we lost. So he is proposing that we completely get rid of quick match and introduce a blind pick draft. So there'd be no bans. You pretty much queue up, bam, 5 people. It puts the teams together, no heroes selected. Then you have a certain amount of time to pick your composition, lock it in, and play the game. This would help people begin to build better compositions, have better match quality, in what would become our, most casual form of gameplay. And hopefully reduce that skill gap between quick match players and Hero League players and help people transition over better. I like this partly, personally. He makes a few points in here that I definitely don't agree with, and it seems like some other people have the same thoughts. One of the things was he said the majority of quick match players, I don't remember. I see the argument that I agreed with, that the majority of quick match players aren't trying to prepare for draft modes. Their quick match is how they play. That's how they enjoy the game.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. I believe it was he said that, the majority of people are trying to prepare for drafts and ranked by playing quick match. I don't agree with that at all. With blind pick, yes, it would definitely help with match quality. You would still get troll compositions, people just playing what they want to play, which is one of the pluses of quick match right now. You are guaranteed to play that hero when you queue up. This is very similar to League of Legends. Right now, if you play their non-draft, you queue in. First thing you do when you get in there, you're mashing chat to make sure you can click on that or type in the text and say, like, if I'm wanting to play ADC, type bot as quick as I can. Because if I type it first, bam, I'm bot. Which isn't always the case.
Which has always been awful.
Yeah, and it's bad because, you want to practice your certain heroes. But it works for the most part, I guess. My preference would be, I would love to see this implemented if you can just queue up for what role you're wanting to play. And then it puts a team together.
As we've said in the past, queue up multiple heroes.
Yes. Yeah. This is kind of going back to that. But I don't know. I don't want to take the ability for people to play what they want to play away. But I do completely agree and have for a long time that quick match has been awful for trying to play, any type of any form of similarity to competitive or ranked, because it's not at all right now.
And that's one of his real concerns in this. He honestly makes a lot of good points for sure. I'm with you in that I agree with a lot of this. And I think that there's some legs to his point about the the blind pick. I think that's at least a fun idea, something that we could explore. But I mean, I'm going to push back hard on the removal of quick match, of course, because sometimes you just really want to play that hero. And when he gets into the argument against that, saying, because he does cite it as a downside for sure, but then just says, well, that's how Heroes of the Storm works. What happens if you bring that into Hero League and your hero gets banned? Sorry, too bad. Play other heroes or roles, which is true in Hero League. I think that should be true in a draft setting. But that's what quick match is for, is to give us a way around that, where I could say, today or the last couple of days, we've just had Phoenix. It would be like when Brigitte just came out in Overwatch. I know that I can't hop on there and try her because my load screen doesn't come up fast enough to where I can pick her before the rest of my team. That's just a fact about my computer. So there's no point in even trying. So, I personally need my way to just go in and try new heroes, in part to cover them on this show, but I would do it anyway, just for fun. Some people actually play the game to just level heroes. Mm-hmm. There's people that are quick match warriors that just get in there, and also layered on top of that, there are some people who love certain heroes so much that not even necessarily that they're one tricks, but that they just have an affinity for Lily. Like, I just have to be the highest level I could possibly be on Lily, So I don't want to cut them out from being able to Lily either.
Yeah.
So I disagree with it overall, but I think there's some interesting points in here.
Yeah, I think it could potentially work once we hit a higher hero pool, and have a more diverse meta. Because, like I said, this is in League of Legends. It does work for the most part, even if you don't, get your position that you call in chat or whatever. A lot of times people still will play that position in another lane, which is fine. Again, a blind pick doesn't mean you're going into ranked. In the end, you should be playing how you want to play. But there's enough champions in that game to where really the times that you don't get to play the person you're wanting to is very rare, unless it's a new champion. Then everyone's trying to play them. So if we
Question
can get
on
to
that.
Uh-huh.
I know a few years ago, and I haven't played League in forever, but there was a mode that they were experimenting with where you could queue up as different roles, and then there would be a team lead that would invite the various roles, and we'd say, okay, we want to carry, mage, support, whatever, and then you kind of apply to those. Are they still exploring that space at all, or did that kind of just drop off?
That's how all the modes work besides blind pick. Whenever you queue up, you pick a primary and a secondary. And you are almost guaranteed to get one of those. Occasionally you'll get neither, but you're guaranteed to get one of your preferences on the next 2 or 3 games.
See, there, I think somewhere along those lines might be the answer.
Yeah, that's and that's great for the ranked play and stuff. And I would love to see that. But the thing, it's hard to do because, what would you do? Warrior, support, damage? Because what's a specialist classified as? And maybe this helps whenever things are broadened. Once we have more classes, you can just do those 3. But it's an interesting thing. TBK, what are your thoughts on this?
So I tried to find some numbers, and I think the only time we've actually gotten concrete mode numbers was BlizzCon 2016. Where they showed, or Dustin Browder came up and he showed that this was when Unranked had just been implemented. So after Unranked was implemented, Unranked was getting about 10%, versus AI was being played about 16%, ranked about 30%, and Quick Match was 46% of player time.
Yeah, that's probably still true to
this
day.
Remove Quick Match from this game. And I completely understand where he's coming from, but he's coming from a perspective of everyone should be looking to get better and move into ranked. I would argue almost 50% of the player base from this time doesn't care about ranked at all.
They may have never watched a HGC match in their life.
Right.
I'm sure they haven't.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of, and that could be a whole nother discussion about trying to make HGC more visible and whatnot. And we've talked at length about getting some sort of community or educational tab inside the game client. I still think that needs to happen because more education is never a bad thing. But we have to realize where our audience is, and people like quick match as a thing. Not everyone cares about ranked and going in and getting better or needing some sort of proving ground beforehand. Should unranked maybe be made a little more prominent for you? Maybe that should be pushed as, hey, you want to learn how to do ranked, or do you need to move up into the ranked the ranked systems, play unranked. Here's this a little more. Maybe quick match isn't quite as prominent or whatever, but you can't get rid of it. Like, it's
an idea there.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
What if unranked draft gave some sort of flat bonus to experience, to where people who do just want to farm and like level up their account, they have another means of doing so. I mean, they can't work on that one hero, but they'd get a little bonus. Maybe there's something there. I mean,
it already gives a bonus to quests.
Yeah.
Right, which is nice.
Yeah, quests will complete automatically when you do unranked or ranked, I think.
Yeah, ranked is for sure too.
Yeah, quick match, you have to actually do it specifically. So I mean, there's a little incentive there. I don't know if that's been made super visible that it does that. I just know that's something they updated a while ago.
Yeah, and the philosophy at the time was that, you know, they didn't want you to feel like you had to pick something to complete a quest. Like if you get stuck with the support role and your quests are, you know, warrior, assassin, specialist, they didn't want you to feel like you had to pick one of those. So it made sense at the time.
Yeah. I'd be really interested in seeing updated numbers for this. Just from a curiosity standpoint of, has unranked increased, decreased? Has ranked quick match increased, decreased? 16% out of total player time playing versus AI. I mean, that HOTS definitely has the image of like a more casual game. But in some ways that's deserved. Because, I mean, just looking at the numbers, at least from this slide, this is 60% of player time is spent in versus AI quick match.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that'll just happen anyway. I mean, in the Hearthstone space, almost all, the super vast majority of the ladder is, or was, just a rank 20. They were playing for the card back. And now those same people, I'm sure, are just making sure they get their 5 wins in for the same reason. So,
but Hearthstone is considered a more casual game.
I don't tell that to the HCT tour.
Well, tell that to the HGC. I mean,
yeah, Hearthstone's doing a little bit of HGC.
Fight.
What I mean is, granted, just from a game perspective, Blizzard has never marketed Hearthstone as hardcore, as a hardcore game. Hearthstone has always been marketed as a very casual, very accessible, easy to play game.
So is Heroes.
But Heroes maybe a little bit. They never really marketed it as like a casual game.
Yeah, kind of.
It's more grown around it, I think.
Hero Brawler and a few of these other things. So
that's not casual though.
I
would argue the casualness has kind of come from maybe modes like quick match, maybe just the stigma of you have to do so many more things in League and Dota than you have to do in Heroes, so it's just more casual and it's more easy. Not that any of those are necessarily true, but potentially that's and this may just be a Blizzard thing. Like Blizzard as games in general, except for maybe StarCraft, are a little more casual.
Well, they try to make them easy
or
to learn,
more
difficult
accessible.
to master. Yeah, I think that's always been their plan. Overwatch, you could argue, is the same.
Sure. And so I think that accessibility plays into the player base. I think that makes so much more sense to me now after we talked around it the entire time. Accessibility is a really good word.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to stick with. Final answer.
And
Final
no
Jeopardy.
taking it back. No taking
And it's a
casualties.
good thing. I think it's a good thing that
It
these
is.
people just play the game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want
is.
them to feel super pressured to push hardcore in the ladder all the time if that's not how they want to play.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Or
them
have to go
just
into
play.
ranked. Yeah, if you don't want to.
We do have another topic to talk about, so I want to move on to that. If
No
anyone,
doubt.
we'd love to get your feedback on this. If you all have any opinions, the last thing I'll say on this, that at least in my opinion, yes, quick match needs to improve, but something needs to be done about quick match, not taking it away. And they haven't touched quick match in a really long time, and maybe that's because they are working on something. But I think, we've had the discussion several times of things that we think they could do to make it a better experience as far as actual compositions, things like that don't take away player choice, just wanting to get in there and play a hero.
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll get some announcements. Maybe
Once
at
we get the
PAX East.
multi-select, yeah, maybe once we get multi-select functionality, like you guys talked about a little earlier, maybe once we get that role classification system update, which, I mean, that alone could potentially help from a comp perspective, or even from a matchmaker perspective in putting stuff together. I think they kind of do that a little bit on the back end now, but just from a player knowing what a hero does a little better than they have now could certainly help.
Yeah. The next one here is another post by XXL Epic, who recognizes a listener from the show. And both of these threads are great as far as just reading through. The discussions on them are fantastic. We will have the links in the show notes. But kind of a TLDR here on his original post as well. The title is Duo Q Ranked is already in the game. Hero League doesn't need Duo Q. Team League just needs to be fixed. So kind of his highlighting points here. Okay, TBK, we're going to have words on this one, I can tell.
Oh, they're just going to fight.
No. His first point, the issue isn't that you can't play ranked with 1 to 2 of your friends. The issue is that Team League isn't delivering competitive matchmaking and queue times compared to that of Hero League, and thus some feel Team League isn't a viable option for Duo Q. Completely agree. So there's things he thinks need to happen. One is to fix Party and Group Finder, preaching to TBK. He said that he's been playing multiplayer games forever, and Heroes has one of, if not the worst, party/group finders he's ever seen. It is just those little boxes up there that you can click to look for party. That's a mix between quick match, Team League, all sorts of stuff. Right. It is pretty awful. I'm sorry, Blizzard.
It's terrible. It is terrible.
And no one wants to be in general chat.
It's been in there pretty much since day one.
Yeah.
Just it's like I'm available, guys. Nothing specific.
No one wants to be in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Change/add ranked rewards. So right now there is 0 incentive to play past your 10 placements in Team League because you get your mount, you get all the rewards, unless you can get up to Grandmaster to get that epic mount. I completely agree with this as well. It's awesome that we have a way to get that mount, but just getting in there and playing your 10 placement matches to get that isn't necessarily a feel-good thing. It's more of a chore. So I actually would like to see that lowered from, platinum in Hero League right now? Maybe lower it to gold. See how that
for
goes.
the mount.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't want to take, now that it's been given to everyone, it would be really hard to take that away, that opportunity to get that. So I don't know. Maybe just more rewards. Add clans. So another thing outside of LFG to help people put teams together. I definitely still want that. I don't think necessarily that has anything to do with Team League or fixing it for the better. It might help.
Unless you were in like a Team League clan, and that was the whole gimmick, but yeah.
And then
it all depends on the implementation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add full flex queue to Team League. Right now, the only option is 2 to 3 stack or 5 stack. We can allow for even faster duo queues if we allow 2+2+1 instead of tons of duo stacks to wait on a few 3 stacks. It could theoretically cut queue times in half for those in duo queue. This can also allow 4+1, more flexibility, smaller wait times, higher population, better matchmaking options. So this could technically work out now that we have voice comms in game and not be as big of a deal.
Right.
But it's still going to be a disadvantage. Maybe your one stack doesn't use voice comms, which is completely okay. But that automatically puts your team at a disadvantage. The thing I want to point out from this is the response from Slightless66. And he is proposing that we learn from Dota 2. I had never thought of this. I really, really like this idea. And that is that Dota 2 has implemented a new rank system a couple months after we changed ours to what it currently is. And that is that it is one ranked system that you can queue up for is any type group, but you have a separate MMR if you're placed solo, as if you are placed with a group. And then you can also tick a mark that you would only like to play against other solo players. So it's one system for one queue, two separate rankings, and you can also, if you're wanting to take solo seriously, queue up for just solo. So you still get that Hero League experience. And I really, really like this. I don't know if it's the perfect fix, but I would love to see this at least tried to see how it works. Because we're still in that testing stage, trying to find what ranked in Heroes of the Storm is. And I think this could be a good thing, at least to get some data from.
The checkbox idea is super cool. At least maybe they could redo Hero League to do that, where, I mean, you can choose to just be matched up against solos, but otherwise open it up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, to do everything you just cited, they'd have to merge Team and Hero League.
Yeah, it'd just be one thing, but you still have the two separate MMRs.
True. So, I mean, there's something there. What do you think, TBK?
Yeah.
I like the idea. I think, especially because Heroes has a smaller population and less people, as was pointed out, playing Team League, I think this could be potentially, I mean, you'd have to try it out, but potentially this could be the best of both worlds. You basically just have a ranked tab and you have two checkboxes that say, you know, I don't mind playing solo, or whatever they were.
You can play solo with a group, and that would still affect only your solo MMR. Or if you're wanting like just the solo experience, you can play against 9 other solos, and that affects your solo MMR as well. So you have the choice.
Yeah, and something like this could be a very good solution for Heroes, simply because the system would have so many more people. Because as he implies, I bet there are a ton of people who wouldn't necessarily care that they're playing against all other solos, and they just want to play ranked, right? And they get that draft experience, they get that high competition, the grinding the ladder type thing. And so this could potentially help with queue times immensely.
Mm-hmm. And
I would be willing to try it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. You would, I mean, with the checkbox, you would have the Hero League experience if you wanted it. Yeah. You could be guaranteed that no matter what, it's against solos, but you could flex it out. I could see some people being in the other side of the coin where they don't care that they get to play with teams, because sometimes there's a huge benefit to that. Again, you queue up with 3 guys who super have this wombo down really well. Let them do it. Maybe they're going to work it out super well, you know? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I could see myself in that camp, actually playing it, but not really checking that box and just kind of letting it fly. So
yeah, and I'm in the exact same boat. And you know, we can't speak for everyone, but I feel like if we feel this way, there's definitely more people that do. As somebody who doesn't mind using voice chat, I absolutely I will play with a 4-stack or a 3-stack, even if it's against another 5-stack, because I'm willing to get in the voice comms and let's do this.
Or at least listen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it would really help queue times. And if people wanted to check that solo box, I don't feel like that would really affect queue times any more than it already is anyways. The only thing it would do is help queue times, because not everyone who's just playing Hero League right now is going to check that box. There will be some that move over and are willing to play with other groups. So I really like this. Really, really like it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It is great. So check that out for sure. Good
Check
thread.
that box.
Check that. Or don't check the
that
box. I won't check the box if you don't check it. I still won't check it, even if you do check it.
Dang.
I'm confused now.
I don't get it,
like-
but that seemed brutal at
It's
the
like
end.
writing a note to your girlfriend and
Well,
your
he promised-
hopeful girlfriend in middle school. Check yes or no.
He promised we were going to argue, but we ended up
Yeah, I know.
agreeing and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So
Dang it. We need to
It's
find
true.
something to argue on again.
Multi, you have a few segments left to sing, by the way, just letting you know. So
I'm
let's,
saving it up.
Let's go ahead and hop on in to the HGC. All right, TBK, we got some new functionality. I was super stoked about this. Thought it was
Yeah.
quicker video uploads. It wasn't, but it's still pretty cool.
you're going to still ding him on that, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the Heroes esports site got an upgrade, and it's actually really cool. We now have team profile pages that will pull in all the actual game data. So you can go select the team, get the team overview, get the hero pick and win rates, get battleground breakdowns of how they did, like what their win percentage is on it, and then jump in and see what they're most picked and banned by the team and against the team. Really, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is a huge upgrade to the site. They've even got like team composition, average game length, how many different heroes were picked by the team. So I'm looking at like Tempo Storms right now, and they have a 71% win loss. Their best battleground is Dragonshire. They're currently 6-0 on it. Their most picked heroes are Malthael, Greymane, and ETC. They ban Genji the most, and they have Hanzo banned against them the most. It's really, really cool.
It
You
is.
can jump in and see all this information.
The only thing missing from this that I would love to see is talent picks. Being able to click
Ooh,
on.
that'd be interesting.
It'd be cool if they had actual previous match results, and you could click on that match and see the heroes and talent selections.
I think that's where this is headed, though,
Yeah.
because remember, not too long ago, they were discussing the fact that, yes, they're going to flesh a lot of the stuff out, but their example, I think, was Varion and how you could select him and see, all right, what are the top builds? What's the,
Yeah.
you know?
It's
So I think that's where it's headed.
it'd be great to be able to dive in. Hey, they're playing this hero on majority of the maps. How are they building differently on each map against what different compositions? Is a great learning tool and potentially a step closer to releasing an API, maybe. Hopefully.
Perhaps. Honestly, this is,
No.
you never know. You never know.
No.
Honestly, this is something we've been asking for quite some time, at least the player profile thing. But the rest of it is kind of a surprise to me, honestly. Like to get the full breakdown of team stats, including heroes and battleground, pick rates, bans, all that. It's more information than I expected out of this kind of change. And that's cool.
Everyone looks
Yeah.
so angry on Tempo Storm.
I
They're all
need to go
super
check them
serious
out.
for the
Really
pictures.
angry. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is we're getting close to the ultimate esports Heroes esports website. Like you said, we need getting the full on talent breakdowns and such like that. You can still use Master League, I believe, to see a lot of that stuff, at least for the big tournaments. But we are missing that on the main site, and we are missing individual player profiles. Hopefully those will be coming eventually as well, because it would be really cool to be able to say, okay, I want to compare all the teams' tank players. I want to compare all the individual teams' support players and that type of thing, and breaking it down even further. So kudos to those guys. Great new functionality, and it looks really slick. So I'm excited to see where they take the website from here.
Do you guys want to know why Tempo Storm all look angry? Because they all want
Enlighten
quick match out of the game. It's not true. That's not true. Just the
Quick
coach.
match is ruining our game. No,
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
that's not true.
I'm sure they love quick match. I'm sure from a pro player standpoint, I would probably be annoyed with quick match too. in some ways.
Yeah.
Just because it's like this is breeding so many bad, comps or habits or whatever. And from their standpoint, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
everyone plays the game differently. So it's good that Blizzard offers lots of ways to play the game. Week 6 is in the books, and we've actually got some nothing super surprising. Heroes Hearth Esports did beat Simplicity 3-1. So that was probably the biggest upset of the weekend. Looking for more esports has been looking a lot better.
They've been looking
honestly.
for more wins.
They have been looking for more.
They've actually been looking for more esports.
Yeah,
Just the
they're
better
on
they
the
do.
cusp of being amazing. They actually took a game off of Tempo Storm on Saturday, and they almost beat Simplicity on Sunday. It was a 2-3. Sunday in general, I actually got to catch some of the games, and it was just crazy matches all around. It went super late. The Heroes Hearth Gale Force went to a 3-2, and the Looking for More Simplicity match went to a 3-2 as well. So if you want to check out some really close games, go watch the VODs of Sunday, March 25th. Really good stuff there. As far as week 7 goes, they did release the patch schedule. Week 7 and week 8 will be on the March 21st balance patch. And this is the large balance patch that just happened not too long ago with like the Greymane, Maiev, Thrall, Thala, Zul'jin, Medivh, Ariel, Malfurion, Artanis, Blaze, Sonya, and Tyrael changes. So this is going to be a pretty big upgrade from a patch perspective from the last week, because they were still playing on a pretty old patch last week. So I'm actually really interested to see what the meta looks like in this new patch.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. Should be good.
Sure. On the EU side, for those interested, because I find it interesting, I'm looking at Zealots and Dig. Both went 2-0 over the weekend, but I think the game to point out here is Team Dig and Fnatic. Fnatic looked really good. They're back together, 3-0'd by Dig. So,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily a super surprising thing, but could have seen
Dig
that,
is still
hoping
Dig.
that went 1-3 or 2-3, something like that. But I'm telling you, Zealots and Heroes Hearth, they're going to be the top dogs moving into BlizzCon.
Zealots has definitely been moving up and taking the former Fnatic spot from an EU perspective. And good grief, someone sponsor them. They are so good.
Yeah.
How they don't have a sponsor now, I couldn't tell you.
Hey, Roll20.
There you go.
As much as I want you to be in North America,
This does work.
yeah, come back. I use your stuff. It's good.
Or Cloud9. Whatever.
Yeah.
Cloud9 would be
Either would
good
be
to come
fine.
back.
It'd be fine.
All right. Well, let's move on here. TBK, community content. What do you got for us this week?
Of course, with Phoenix coming out, this will be Phoenix related. I kind of talked a little bit about it earlier in the show. Math of the Storm has come out with a new Phoenix article, and I highly recommend you go check out all of his math articles when new stuff comes out, because they are super interesting to kind of get insight into the hero, especially Phoenix. I wanted to just kind of highlight a few points, and then of course the link to the article will be in the show notes. But this is the first Protoss unit with a 60-40 split on health versus passive shields. Simply adding them together puts Phoenix as the tankiest marksman in the game at 2,000 base HP, higher than Tychus's 1925. Unlike other similarly durable heroes, however, Phoenix's shields confer some resistance to percentage HP damage. Phoenix's shields replenish itself completely in just 15 short seconds once he's left alone, much higher than the 192 seconds it normally takes to regenerate 40% of a hero's HP. Furthermore, he's one of the few heroes with higher than regular HP scaling, gaining an additional 5% max HP and shields by level 20. So that's really interesting to keep in mind. And we talked a little bit about it from a kit perspective. But on the flip side, the downside to his heavy shields is that he cannot be directly healed by allies until the shields are gone and it gets down into that lower HP range.
I didn't know that.
And his income, you cannot heal shields.
Well, I didn't know that. I know you can't heal the shield, but I didn't know that if his shield was up, you couldn't heal his missing health, or can you?
You should be able to.
Okay.
You just can't heal.
I heard you wrong. Yeah.
But once the shields are gone, his in-combat HP is a mere 1200 if he's not left alone for 5 seconds. This weakness makes short cooldown poke abilities like Moonfire or Chain Lightning especially powerful versus Phoenix, keeping him soft and at risk of being bursted down. Alternatively, damage over time effects will delay his shield regeneration with every tick of damage, making heroes like Lunara especially effective at denying his regeneration. And then, as I talked about earlier, things like Varion Shattering Throw do work versus shields as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting point about
really
Lunara. Because she could outrange him a little bit too. I could see that being a thing.
Yeah. I think his shield is just too much. Like a Chromie Dragon's Breath barely touches your health, if at all. It's too punishing.
And then you just get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is a super interesting article. I did want to point out one more thing too, from the repeater cannon versus the phase bomb, which is the AOE shot you can switch to with your W. Phase bomb does more DPS than repeater cannon if it hits 3 or more relevant targets. If you're only hitting 2 targets, prefer a repeater cannon if you don't need the range, because single target damage is generally better than area of effect for equivalent total damage.
That's really good to know. Just to get
so
better for those playing Phoenix.
If it's just 2, the repeater cannon is going to do more damage faster. But if it's 3 or more, you're going to want your AoE one, because that's going to do more damage faster. But you have to keep in mind, Phase Bomb does have that extra 1.5 range. Mm-hmm. So if you need to stay back a little further, that's an alternative thing you can do to continue to poke damage while staying a little safer.
Yeah.
This is so awesome because it kind of reminds me of World of Warcraft hit cycles, in that like you might just single target down 2 targets, but you change your entire hit cycle if you're doing 3 or more. There's a comparison there.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. I really dig his style. All right, so we have some email questions. All right, so we have some leftover from last week. We have some new ones this week. We'll see how many we can get to. Maybe all, maybe not. Let's just dive in. Multi, first one here from Taters.
We might knock them all out. You never know. So Taters writes, instead of having 3 bans like many call for, I say go big. Make it 5. Watching the Western Clash and now the Eastern Clash, and both have the same lack of hero diversity across those tournaments. I think instead a ban of 10 heroes total will force more diversity by forcing players to choose lower tier heroes. I'm even open to modifying the amount of heroes each team has to ban based on class. Just curious to hear your take on such a drastic choice, but man, these draft times are atrocious, and having so many similar drafts just makes it so much worse. I'll agree to that last point. I don't know if it's completely atrocious, but we definitely have said in the past, even here on the show, I believe, that that more bans would lead to just obviously more hero diversity and just kind of more interesting games, which is why I think in part, anyway, a lot of people are calling for the 3 right now. Jumping to 5, certainly not impossible. I'd like to see us get there actually when we've got a bigger hero pool, though, for one thing. And then the other part is I would think it'd have to be done in super rapid succession somehow, because we've said many a time on the show that one of our main complaints for watching HGC is the just length of time that the pick ban phase takes. And that would add some, 3 extra bans than there are presently. But yeah, I mean, honestly, 6 extra?
Yeah.
Oh, between the 2 sides. Ha. See, I told you I wasn't very good at math. Anyway, so basically, yeah, I mean, the concern is real. I don't know if the jump to 5 is the answer necessarily, but I'm all for more pick diversity. What do you guys think?
I'm all for moving to 3. I think that would be enough to shake up diversity right now. 5 at this point, way too much. As well as they need to fix downtime for HGC. They like really need to before they do this, because that would be awful, and just make days way too long. There are ways to do this. I don't watch LCS. I believe they have 10 bans. They do in ranked play and just draft play. But the way they fight the time for those two, at least, and I believe I've mentioned this before, is all bans are done immediately. That's the first thing that comes up. You lock your hero in, what hero you want to play, and then it asks everyone to ban a hero. Only there can be no repeats on your team. If somebody bans a hero, you have to ban somebody else. There can be repeats on the opposite team. So it's just one giant ban phase, 10, bam, out of the way, then the snake draft starts. Which I do think would work in Heroes if we ever got to 10 in HGC and wanted to reflect that in ranked play. But I don't think that's the way to do it in like actual HGC. I think you need the mid bans in there. But it's way too soon for 10 total. But I think I agree with most people saying that we need to move to 6, 3 on each side. TBK.
Yeah, 10 total right now would take out
that's a 7th of the pool.
1/8 of the entire hero pool. Yeah, right now that'd be a little too much, especially considering that we barely have over 10 supports.
Yeah, they could just ban out the supports.
In general, yeah, you could literally ban out basically all the supports. I do agree we need 3 though, and we need to figure out a way to reduce draft time. Both of those are very real problems we are having right now, especially when some Heroes games can run longer or run shorter than the draft times themselves. If things are cleaned up real quick, we need to lower draft times. So having multiple bans in a same 45-second window would probably help. We don't need to add extra time or extra phases probably. It's just something that people will have to adjust to.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, next one up here from L Train.
L Train writes, what if we could shard the skins that we opened that we didn't want, or even shades that you don't like in packs we purchased? With the massive amount of other items that drop in loot boxes, such as voice lines, pictures, sprays, etc., it feels really bad to finally get a skin to drop knowing that it's one you'll never use. And since the 25% of shards we'd get for it doesn't amount to that much, it would take 4 times just as long to get back a different shade of the same skin. So I don't think it would hurt the overall economy that much. And I know where L Train's coming from on this, because he and I, we've been playing games for a while now, and I know he's a Hearthstoner as well, where we have the chance to disenchant the stuff we don't want, recraft the stuff we do. And in Hearthstone, it can take quite a bit of time, and this ratio of getting 25% value and then putting it back in works in that space. The question is, TBK. Well, I think TBK's first question is whether anyone takes Hearthstone seriously from a competitive standpoint.
Casuals.
I probably 29.5 million of the people who are playing don't take it seriously in ranked.
And all of those people, all of them should listen to Hearth Casual, because it's a show just about.
I hear it's a pretty good show.
Is it? I don't even know.
You're hitting the widest audience.
That was the plan. See? Anyway,
we need a quick match casual podcast for Heroes of the Storm.
Oh God, that would be something. Someone should do that.
We're gonna try the 4-tank comp today.
Yeah, right. All specialists. Anyway, no, okay. So, I mean, I like the idea flatly. I agree, in particular when it comes to tints. Like if we were going to have to rebuild tints using a disenchanted amount of shards, I think there's some legs to this. Obviously, it's a business decision on Blizzard's part to not do this, so I'm sure they have reasons not to. But Yeah. What do you guys think?
I personally don't care. I could go either way. Most of those skins I'm never going to use, but darn it, I like having them. So when I click on skins
The collector
to pick,
itch.
yeah, I have a whole bunch that I could pick from, even though that I won't. From Gizness's business side, from the guy that didn't finish his degree, but I did start out in business and marketing, so take that.
You can still go by Gizness. It's okay with me.
The Gizness corner.
Episode title, anyway.
I don't like the Hearthstone comparison. Heroes of the Storm, you're getting much more free stuff than you are in Hearthstone, I feel like. So the fact that, I can just see why they don't want to give you the option to do that, because bottom line, if you're able to do that, there's only going to be a couple skins on each hero that you probably save, and it may only be 25% of the shards, but you would be doing that a lot of the time. And so that would add up real quick and kind of fight their entire business model that's built thus far. So I can see why that wouldn't work. But if they did it, cool. I wouldn't use it probably. If they don't do it, cool, because I wouldn't use it.
That is a good point, because you do technically automatically disenchant, if you will, duplicates at that rate of the I believe it's the 25% rate. So, it kind of already happens in that sense. But his question, of course, is whether you could then manually get in and do the same. And yeah, I mean, that would be a huge impact on the system. No question.
TBK?
I'd like it. I mean, you don't get that many skins necessarily. If you could only disenchant skins, not voice lines, not sprays, not portraits,
Heroes.
That's true.
Yeah, not heroes, whatever. Then I think the percentage would be small enough that, sure, if you don't want that, it's very hard to get shards. Honestly, like, it's super hard to get shards. So having another way to get a small amount of shards by giving something up, so you could maybe save up for something you wanted. Yeah, sure. I'm down.
That's a good point. I didn't think about the fact that you can't do that to the other stuff. But I imagine if he's wanting to do this with skins, it would apply the same to the other things, because I only use, even more so actually with sprays, because I use the same spray on most heroes.
Not in my example, though.
That you don't use.
But we're talking about economy, right?
Yes.
So if you did limit it to just skins, as he's talking about in his question, I think it'd be great. I don't think I'd see a problem with that.
The Gizness says... That's a bad term. We're not using that again.
Oh, yes, we are.
It's your fault. You called yourself
No,
that.
I didn't. That was Multi. He said you
Multi?
could call yourself the
No,
Gizness.
you said it. I think you probably...
Maybe you're projecting onto Multi.
I don't know. I did not come out
You
of
may
my
have
mouth
tripped over
first.
your word,
I
but
did
I
not
like
come
it.
out my mouth first.
I like it.
If you did this, I think they would make it less than 25, maybe 20%, because they need some way to try and dissuade you from doing that. There has to be a cost for it. As opposed to just getting the
75%.
duplicate. Whatever. Anyways, yeah.
Okay.
I could go either way on this. That's my final thing.
Sure.
Next one here from Kadzin.
Actually, I definitely want to hit the Kadzin one, but I'm going to jump down to Shard Storm just because it's kind of related to what we've just been talking about.
Okay.
We'll get you Kadzin, though, because I love the question. Shard Storm, this is actually something he had popped up in Discord a couple times talking about this issue, but he actually took it to testing. So he writes, I tested something with this hero release. Buying Phoenix for 750 gems himself drops the bundle price from $14.75 to $8.40. Meaning if you buy the skins later, you pay $1,590 for them, a lazy bonus of $115. I'm not really sure that's how the store should operate. I mean, I get it's a financial decision from Blizz, but it leaves a pretty poor taste in the mouth that they force certain purchase points with gem bundles, then sting you if you don't buy in bulk as well. So, to the question, Should that be how the store works, or should a 750 gem purchase deduct 750 gems from the cost of a bigger bundle? And to that last question, I mean, I first of all, I do definitely get the idea of, if you buy in bulk, you get a little bit of a discount. Anyone who's ever been in a Costco knows that philosophy, or Sam's Club or anything like that. Just buy a pallet worth of ramen noodles. They'll cost like 10 cents a piece. But yeah, no, it's definitely weird. Like when I saw him write this out and kind of like saw him go through the whole process there, it is definitely weird. I mean, that you're so disincentivized to just buy the hero outright and not the bundle does kind of leave me feeling a little weird too. In part because I did do it for Phoenix in this case. I like some of his skins, but I wasn't so in love that I can't just run the kind of grayish white tint on his main base one. So that's fine with me. But yeah, I mean, looking down the road, I see this kind of thing, and it does make me want to get bundles more often. But maybe that's Blizzard's point. I don't know. What do you guys think about all this, though?
Business Gizmo says no. Still not old yet. No, it is.
We need to make a sounder for that.
I'm interested to see if there's some sort of algorithm to this, to where the more you have in the bundle, it's a higher percent of a discount you have that you get. Does that make sense at all? Like say
I told you I'm not good at math.
Say not for this bundle. Say a bundle came out like say there was a bundle that came out that had like Jaina, Greymane, the Dreadlord Jaina skins, the Greymane skins right now. Say I have Jaina, Greymane, one of the Dreadlord skins, and one of the Greymane skins. Would I get more of a discount, a percentage discount, if I bought that bundle than if I just had Greymane and Jaina and didn't have any of those skins? Or would it be the same percent?
Question on that one. Are they a couple now? And if so, can we call them
Shipping
J-Main?
them?
Because Fab.
We can do that, maybe?
Okay. Sounds good. That's the story of Battle for Azeroth. Right there.
So, like, for instance, okay, we'll use this one as an example. Say there was some way that you could have gotten these skins out of the bundle, which I guess you can now that they changed that again. So you had Phoenix in one of the skins. Would, in total, would you end up spending the same as if you bought Phoenix and then the bundle? And so there's the lazy bonus of 115. Or, if you had one of the skins, maybe there's a lazy bonus of only 110. I feel like I'm not explaining. Okay. I don't know.
Cannot process. No, it's not you. It's the hour.
It is getting late, and it's really hot in my room right now. My fan's not on.
I kind of drifted out there.
No, I listened, but even then,
about halfway through.
And this is why I dropped out of college, because this is how that you guys are exactly how I was in class. Was just
fair point.
No.
So I don't know.
That was me too, but then I just made up a bunch of stuff on my papers, and it worked out. I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes sense from a business standpoint that you would get a slightly cheaper bundle if you buy it all in bulk at once than if you bought just part of it later. That's just a normal business thing.
Yeah, if I went
for the most part,
buy
in bulk.
If I went and bought a 4-pack of Red Bull but decided I wanted a 24-pack instead, I would have to buy 5 more 4-packs of Red Bull, and that would be more expensive than getting the 24-pack. So it works out the same way that way. So it makes sense from a business standpoint. Yes, I agree. I don't know if it's enough. I don't know. It is too late. I don't know. Holy crap.
I was just waiting. I wanted to see if your thing was going anywhere. But...
Yeah, it did, right? That one did.
That one did.
That one did. So it's not a 115 lazy bonus isn't enough to leave a poor taste in my mouth personally, because I mean, I get it. But if it was much higher than that, then sure. It can be a feels bad man thing, but it's also, feels businessman thing.
Or Gizness Man.
Nope. Not that.
TVK, you're the one who posts the episode titles. You know what to do.
We are getting wonky. It's after 11 o'clock, isn't it?
It is.
It is. So let's get even wonkier with this next question, because this is a wonky one and I love it. Okay, so it says, this is the one from Kadzin. Greetings, Zord Lords crew. With the release of Phoenix, I wanted to bring up an important issue that's been plaguing this game. The issue of weapons, or rather, the issue of humans with weapons as heroes. Personally, I think a human with a weapon is the most boring type of hero you can add to the game. Humans with guns, humans with bows, humans with swords, etc. Blizzard has such a huge variety of characters and universes to take from that seeing something so inspired like Phoenix and something so boring like Hanzo really puts it into perspective. I'm not going to lie, I have a bias against the Overwatch heroes and HOTS. Not only are they all pretty much human with X design, and not only do they have known kits, but they're also the youngest IP with not much history behind them. I get that they are the hot selling commodity these days, but when I think of characters we could potentially have like Deathwing, the Overmind, Bale, Mephisto, Prophet Velen, Lady Vash, tons of unique looking StarCraft units, and instead we get Overwatch people, it pales in comparison. So what do you guys think? Do you support the end of Humans of the Storm? Love the show, Kadzin.
Counterpoint.
Yes.
What about a human with two swords?
Oh god. that is acceptable, I think, even in Kadzin's eyes. Right there. Anyway.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you had to say that. It was your job at that point. No. So my take on this is there are definitely games that have it worse, because I look at even the new Arena of Valor. There's a couple weird furries in it. Not that furries are weird, but these furry characters are weird. Like, I don't know their names. Slims, I think, was one. Slims with a Z. That was kind of weird. But other than that, it's all humans. And yeah, some of them are super boring. Like one of the characters I really wanted to play the most is just an angel. Nothing special visually. So, I definitely think this game does it better than a lot for sure. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one. I'm an Overwatch fan to a degree, of course. I did a podcast for a while, but the humans thing is honestly, when you think about it, at least in my experience in World of Warcraft, I've always thought the humans were the most boring race, because I am one in real life. So like, why would I want to also be one virtually? You know what I mean? So I've definitely got that layer going for me. And then, okay, so you asked whether we support the end of Humans of the Storm. I don't want to come off like I want a genocide against them or anything like that, of course. Although, when you think about it, with the singularity possibly coming up where humans on Earth merge with machines, maybe we're all going to be like Phoenix one day, just going around in Dragoons. I actually am for that. So, you know what? I'm for this. What do you guys think?
Like Wally?
I like how you worked your way through that. That was good. That was good.
I want to start this off by saying I feel really toxic tonight because of all these questions, because I've disagreed with every single one. And I'm going to disagree with this one. But I appreciate the opinions. I just happen to either not really care on these particular issues or like them, but just in different ways. To me, human with gun, human with bow, human with sword is the same as orc with axe, orc with hammer, orc with axe and bear, or Protoss with beam, Protoss with robot with beam, or Protoss with blades. It's the same to me. I love the Blizzard universes. The humans thing doesn't bother me. I just like the fantasy as a whole. So, and I don't think there's too many right now. Plus, I really want Deckard Cain. So,
yeah,
I mean,
that's the point. Is this is coming right on the cusp of potentially Deckard Cain.
If they did 5-6 humans in a row, then yeah, sure, that would let's get some other stuff in there. Let's get our Draenei in there that we still don't have. Let's get our actual gnome in there that we still don't have. Yeah. It's just a balance thing for me. If you balance it well, that's fine. TBK.
I mean, I partially agree. I mean, I'll totally agree with the Hanzo thing. I hate Hanzo, so thumbs up there. That's just me. I just hate Hanzo. I do really like the monsters type characters. I think from a visual perspective, and I think that's more it. Not that I don't like the humans, and I like a lot of their the characters, and I like a lot of their kits. But from a visual perspective, monsters and monstrous units are just cool. They just look
like
really
Dahaka.
neat. Yeah.
Super cool.
So I don't think they've been adding them at an alarming rate or too much or anything. Overwatch being what it is, Overwatch heroes are going to come. Like they're just going to come. Overwatch is way too popular, and I'm sure Heroes has pulled in a lot of Overwatch people because the Overwatch heroes are in game. And so from a Blizzard standpoint, that's just really good for them. But at the same time, I will say I love monstrous heroes and these like crazier looking heroes and such, like the Phoenix, like Dahaka, Ragnaros. So I really do hope we see a lot more of them.
Yeah. I like that. And that's kind of how I guess that's not how I think about it. I just think of the hero as a whole. I don't think about what race that they are. Sometimes I do. Like the dragon thing, obviously we wanted a dragon for a while.
Right.
But, you know,
And the whole deal with Chromie being a dragon, but also a gnome. And so do we really have a gnome representative in the game? Stuff like that is always intriguing.
And I would love if they do more with humans in their skins to potentially give them like monster side things. Like, I don't know. I personally think it'd be cool if each human had like an undead skin, a Forsaken skin. I don't necessarily know because Forsaken don't have the same skeleton type. They're kind of more hunched over. If that would work real well. But
Or
it could be a fun Halloween thing though.
Or you could just play Stukov because he is more monster than man.
But he's not Forsaken.
Accurate.
Like Sylvanas,
no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying
Forsaken,
in general.
and she has
in general,
the non-Forsaken skins. So
yeah,
it's cool.
Now for his human thing, like there's your crossover right there.
Which
Stukov.
Interesting thing. I think it was you that told me this, but I also think it might have been Sharku on CTR. So I'm going to mention it just because it's a cool fact. Do you know where elves originate from? Okay, it wasn't you that told me
the
this.
Trolls.
Yeah,
it was the Trolls.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah, I think it was Sharku actually.
Well, now I feel dumb because I talked about that for like 2 minutes last night on CTR about how I learned this cool thing Multi told me, and we talked about it previously on CTR.
Oh well, no, leave that on CTR.
I mean, it's already
it
there.
makes me sound cool.
It's there, but that was mind blowing to me, and it has nothing to do with anything we were just talking about. But
yeah, Sharku does that show merely a setback.
Yeah,
I don't know if I got it from there. I actually just recently started listening to that. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah,
so
it's cool. I like it. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this show. Before we get any more delirious, Multi, why don't you tell people where we can be reached?
I think I'm gonna need one of your 20 things of Red Bull to get through this part, but let's do this. You can find us in game by typing /join /LOTS, or you can join our Discord, which is in a couple places. You can go online, bit.ly/lotsdiscord as a hyperlink, but we've also got it sticking at the top of the Twitter, which is @Lords of the Storm. We're on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central. And we are also on Facebook, facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can email us with feedback or questions, as many of these folks did, lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. And if you want to help with the show past that, there's a couple ways of doing so. There's, of course, by the method of leaving positive reviews. Certainly a huge help to us. Any review is, but positives are especially helpful. And then we've got Patreon, of course, patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where, again, I can't stress it enough every week, especially like it's hard to seem so enthused because I'm so tired at this point. But trust me, the enthusiasm is there. We love you guys. Anyone who's given any amount or even considered it, or even if you haven't, even if you're just listening to the show, we just appreciate it so much, more than you guys know. anything goes toward the show or ketchup packets. And we appreciate you guys.
For sure. You can find us individually, myself on Twitter, Twitch, all those things at GizmoZord, as well as on Convert to Raid Presents the BattleNet News Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central for the most part. This last week was at 9:30. Yeah, it's a good time. Multi, where can you be found?
I'm on Twitter at Multizord, and I'm also on that other show we alluded to earlier, Hearth Casual, which is on Twitter at Hearth Casual. But it's with Ro from Realm Maintenance or Brian Black. And again, it's our Hearthstone show. And this was one of the off weeks. So we, of course, do that every other deal where there's a full episode followed by kind of a shorter, brief episode. But I mean, with all these card reveals coming out for the Witchwood, I did send in another recorded bit about actually the Warlock legendaries and my thoughts on those. And then I know Brian's going to go through the whole bit with, of course, the Brawl and everything else. So, shorter week, but still a lot to cover for sure.
And TBK?
Find me on Twitter at TBKZord, twitch.tv/TBKZord. I don't stream anymore. It's sad. I should. That's it.
Someday.
One
It'll happen.
day. All right.
One day when I'm awfully low and the world is cold, I will watch TBK Zord stream again. I told you I'd sing by the end of this.
'Cause I love you. Just the way you look at me.
I think it's tonight, but either
Sure.
way, whatever.
We're changing words. It's after 11. We can do whatever the crap we
Yeah,
want.
that's right, we can. Anyway, there you go, Gizmo. Or sorry, Gizness.
Gizness.
Gonna go right over that.
We should probably end this episode.
Want to give a special
at some point.
thanks to our patron producer Ouroboros Sword for helping support the show, and all those who will continue to hopefully support us after this episode. Thank you all. Wicked Kitten, you're fantastic. Our Twitch mod. We'll hopefully see you next week. 9 p.m. Central on
I
Wednesday.
seriously almost forgot to sing.
Enough. I shall do no more.
Oh no!
Did
What?
you seriously forget to do your dorm bracket?
Oh.
Wow.
No, I didn't forget. I filled it out. I filled it out up through the Elite 8.
But
And then
didn't
was doing
finalize.
CTR last night. Yeah, because I was actually going back through all the stats based off of what their top pick heroes are, based on the current meta, what the percentages are. And then I didn't go back after the show and finish it. I was actually feeling really good about my bracket. Son of a...
Dang.
You are going to be chastised next
Yeah,
week.
that was the one thing I actually thought about it mid-episode. That was one thing we didn't talk about, but I guess we can touch in next week or the one after
I
to
am so
see how the
mad.
brackets are going and make fun of Gizness and all that.
I'm so mad, you guys. I seriously was feeling really good about it. I
Yeah.
wonder if it saved what I currently had just so I can follow.
Maybe. I had a similar, not that exact experience, but the only reason I remembered was I saw a thread that Bethany did, Lashes, and because she was doing that deal about what's your favorite Blizzard memory,
Uh-huh.
and she was going back and forth with I think mostly about
Dang it, it didn't.
completing your bracket, that sort of thing. And she had said, don't forget, this is your last day to do it. But at the time, it was a thread that was a couple days old. So I was like, oh, man, I forgot. But she had posted it the day. So I scrambled to do mine. I did it on my phone holding my kid. But I did some research to it.
It didn't save it. No, I had put
Oh, really?
I had put 30 minutes into it up to the point that I was at. And then I had to go do CTR and I was going to do it after.
Dang.
Ah. Man.
Gizmo made me feel like I had time.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
Gotcha. April Fools.
He was trying to cut you out of it so he improves his chances.
Oh,
That's what he was
man.
doing.
Yeah, that's... Dang it. I'm really
That
sad
worked
about
out
that.
real well.
Anyways, yes, we are delirious. I'm seriously it's got to be 85, 86 in my room right now. Like, I'm sweating through my shirt. I got to turn my
Yeah,
fan on.
the bracket was only up for a week, Tech.
God. I was going to win. Bottom line, I was going to. It's true. Because I had some pretty crazy upsets, but I was like, you know what? This team's playing the current meta picks right now. They counter their top picks. They're taking it. It's going to happen.
I'm not doing super hot tonight. Both Toronto and Lahai or whatever, they both lost.
Where are you? Because I've got my bracket pulled up, but where are you seeing the results?
On my bracket.
Does it fill into the next?
Oh no, it hasn't filled into the next slot. It just has the scores. So yeah, ASU beat Toronto, which I had.
Where are the scores? Is it just like, do I click the info, I guess?
No, just click the bracket, and then like it has the bracket, and it's hard to tell unless you're looking for it. It's just like you can see ASU. There's a 2 next to it. Toronto is 0, and it's grayed out, but they haven't moved ASU on to the next spot in the bracket yet.
Yeah.
And then Ohio State beat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have
few.
both the teams that lost though that I had picked. I didn't have going any further. So.
Oh, so you had both those upsets?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So I mean, it's I can survive the hit. Yeah. So far, it's not.
It's still so early.
You win against ASU, who is back to back. Been to the finals.
I'm going for LSU.
Well, I know, but like in the first round, ASU, you had them getting knocked out. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, I made that mistake too.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy talk. Anyways, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you so much, chat, for everyone that hung out, and we will see you all next week.
See you then.